Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my reaction to Doctor Who Season 1 Bad Wolf slash Series 14 since revival slash Season 40 overall. Episode 2, The Devil's Cord. Now, for me, I personally think this is a really great episode. I thought this was a really fun, enjoyable one with a few more stakes than Space Babies. Mainly because, if the Doctor and Ruby don't stop Maestro, the main baddie of this episode, and music isn't in the world, then, well, to quote the Ninth Doctor in the episode World War Three, planet gets nuked. So basically, without music, things go to shit. So, yeah, there's a few more stakes in this episode. I know some people are kind of making out that there's no stakes. Again, it's more minor stakes. I think they're a bit more in the background for this episode, but there are stakes, and they are if Doctor and Ruby don't bring back music to the world and Maestro wins, everything goes to shit, and we end up nuking each other. There, we okay? Good. Same things as previous reaction videos I mentioned about the whole politics stuff and the whole if you don't like it, that's fine, just for the right reasons. Um, and also if it's all personal kind of stuff. I personally think this is the stronger episode. It's a bit more enjoyable, and like I said, if it's again the previous video, these are the more the fun opening episodes of the series before we get to the more darker stuff later on. Probably we're going to get more serious or darker stuff. The next episode, Boom, which is coming out this weekend, looks more serious. So yeah, at time of recording, it's the 15th of May, but this video should hopefully be going up on the 16th, depending on how the other video goes. It's going to be taking its time, but at the moment. Yeah, it's taking its time, but on its way. So yeah, Devil's Cord. I thought this one was a stronger episode script wise and executed well. The main thing I was mostly looking forward to was Jinx Monsoon as Maestro, the so-called Doctor's greatest foe yet. And whilst I don't think Maestro is the Doctor's greatest foe yet, for starters, I think Toymaker lost in the specials was nearer to being the greatest foe, and that's one of the fellow gods. And I think we've had past foes that are great, and the mainstays like the Daleks, Simon the Master, of course, but other baddies such as Fenric from the Curse of Fenric, um, more powerful godlike beings like him, or the gods of Ragnarok from previous seasons, uh, pretty sure in the galaxy, or a few other villains in the past, or even some more mysterious villains like the Midnight Entity, or even the Knock things from again previous specials. Um, those have been more in line of the greatest enemies the Doctor's ever faced, as opposed to Maestro, who's like, in fairness, to be honest, Maestro is the toy maker, but well, for music, I mean, well, obviously because they are the music god of the pantheon. But in terms of the character, they're kind of like the toy maker, but even more over the top. Like, take the well, that's all right then of the toy maker, but put them in a more over the top characterization. Um, but that being said, Jinx Monsoon does a fantastic job delivering the over the topness of the character. I mean, say like the likability depends. Like I personally think they're brilliant. They're a great villain, but not the greatest of all time, like it was being built up to be. And I think the Toymaker was stronger in terms of the specific villains, but definitely a great villain, enjoyable, and Jinx does a brilliant job in the performance. I do, however, don't think they are quite as delicious as they were in that introduction video last April when they were announced. I think that was probably the best of Maestro Jinx Monsoon was that first video, but I still think Maestro is a cracking villain. Depending on who you are, you may not be able to tolerate them for too long or as much, but I personally thought they were great. And the idea of a villain stealing and hogging all the music in the world and causing things to go bad is a really good idea. And I like the build up to it with the Doctor and Ruby going around to see the Beatles. I suppose maybe it was a bit of a the marketing was a little bit naughty with how much the Beatles were apparently going to be in the episode, but it's more of a they kind of more guest appearances, a bit like with um like in Spyfall Part 2, where it had Noor India Khan and give me a second. This laptop's a little bit slow, but those characters they were guest characters in the story, and we didn't really go too much into them. They were kind of like they were there important. They're important to the story, but they weren't key. They didn't really focus on them too much. Ada Lovelace, um, or Ada Gordon, I think. Oh, but yeah, Ada Lovelace and Noor India Khan. Um, they were important to the episode, but it didn't really focus on them as people. And the same thing goes with the Beatles here. Like they are important to what's going on, but it's not like the episode is like about the Beatles and they team up with the Doctor to fight Maestro and then go off and have some fun together. It's not like Vincent and the Doctor or Shakespeare Code, Unicorn and the Wasp, all of them. Um, it's more like again Spyfall Part 2, where they're key to the story, but it's not really about them. It's more about them being involved is more of a minor thing. Less so like Spyfall, they were more so important there than the Beatles here, for example. But it's more in line with that than say like something like Vincent and the Doctor, where it really is about them. So no, the main focus on this one is the battle is the Doctor and Ruby via versus Maestro, and the Beatles are just part. They're a cog in the machine. Okay, the episode's not about them. They're just a part. They're part of the plot. So yeah, I think the marketing was probably a little bit cheeky on that front. Yeah, a little bit disappointing that they didn't feature more, but on the other hand, this is the story that they wanted to tell. That's fine, and I think the way they handled it was good. I think it's a fun, enjoyable story. Um, like I said, a bit more stakes this time because Maestro is more powerful, and what if they succeed? Things go badly for us human beings, like World War Three, nuclear holocaust. Maestro's end goal is the sound of a nuclear winter, the purest sound of all. That's what they want from Earth before spreading into across the universe to steal sound and music from people. So there's your stakes for this episode. Yeah, and also I did like the Pyramids of Mars trip to the future. Pyramids of Mars happened in season 13 of Classic Who. If it wasn't for the renumbering for the Battle for Disney Plus new era, this would be series 14 for the revival. So we're kind of at a similar point in time, series wise, to when Classic Who did it. If it wasn't for the whole renumbering stuff, this would just be another. This would be one series later, but then it had series 13 was Flux, so which was one big. That was the trial of a Time Lord of that era. Kind of makes sense, really. Actually, if you were to boil it all down, but yeah. So this does a Pyramids of Mars thing where the Doctor takes Ruby back to the present day and shows that this is what the future would look like if Maestro wins, just like in Pyramids of Mars he did that with Sarah Jane, showing her what would happen if Sutekh won in 1911 when that story takes place, mostly. So if Maestro wins in 1963, 2024, the world's going to look like a nuclear winter. But like the also like that it wasn't a direct Primus Mars homage. I mean, it was homaging that to begin with in that middle portion of the episode, but then it went more the giggle direction with the interactions with Maestro in 2024, alternative 2024 rather, before then jumping back to 1963 to have the final fight, which was actually really creative and stuff. I actually thought when they did the music battle, the music music battle was really good. But I thought, was that it? Was that the climax when the mining broke? Like, was that it? It was nice, but is that it? But no, there was a bit more. The key to send Maestro back, because the Devil's Cord is what brought them into the universe. At the same year, the Toymaker started his plan in the previous episode. That can't have been a coincidence. But sorry, just checking on this. But then there's another set of chords that are able to send Maestro back, and the tensity of trying to find that and send Maestro back is really great. And I like how the Beatles, or specifically John and Paul, are able to be tied into that as well. And also, they end up saving the day. So there you go. There's your Beatles involvement a bit more than. There's more Beatles involvement in the episode after all. Then yeah, that was great, and also all the stuff with tying the Ruby arc. I mean, that is still at the time reaction being recorded. We still got to see how that's all going. Just checking something. Yeah, still got to see how that's all going. But I'm liking how this is tying in with everything. The suggestions of the one who waits being back as well. Could that potentially be Ruby's father? Or mother, Meister says he, but it might be able to switch genders up, like Time Lords. Or maybe it's just like maybe it's a shapeshifter. Or maybe it's like those frogs that they mentioned in Jurassic Park, where they can just change sex on a whim. Hence, nature finds a way in that film. But anyway, liked all that. That was all great, and I did think the first third of the episode was strongest, though. Again, with just the Doctor and Ruby going around and everybody not being as good at music as they were expecting it to be. Now, again, I think the rest of the episode is actually pretty good, very good. Actually, I thought it was really fun and very good and very well executed. But I think again that first third was the strongest bit. As for a twist at the end, no, I like it. I'm fine with it. I'm happy with it. It's like bizarre out of nowhere. I did not expect it to see it or see it coming. But on reflection, fuck it. It's good. It's good. Enjoyable. It's a bit daft, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. And not those all complaining about music numbers in Doctor Who. First of all, it's not every episode. Space Babies didn't have one. And neither did the 60th specials, unless you count Spice Up Your Life. But that's more of a homage to Last of the Time Lords rather than a brand new music song in the episode, like the Death of the Goblin song. But no, I think this is fine. This is good. Good twist. The song is good. The dance is good. It's fine. And they've just won a battle against Meister and brought music back into the world. I think the characters are allowed to have a bit of fun at the end to celebrate and make sure everything's fine. Yeah. But so yeah, the Devil's Cord. Again, I'm not going to go too much into details with this one. I was a bit more spoilery with this one. A bit more talkative about this one because I've had a bit more to talk about than Space Babies, even though that video is longer. But in fairness, that was more dilly dallying and stuff rather than actually about the episode itself. But this one, really good. Really enjoyed this one. I do think these two are the weakest episodes of RTD era 2 / Bad Wolf era. Season 1 / series 14 / season 40, including the 60th specials. I do think they are the weakest 2 episodes so far, but this one is definitely the stronger of the two, and yeah, hoping the remaining episodes of the series are even better. Although episode 5, mm, with well, in fairness, I'm not. We don't really know a huge amount about the middle two or about the rest of the episodes, apart from maybe Rogue because of the Bridgerton stuff and the Duchess and Jonathan Groff's character. But um, Dot and Bubble have very. I don't really know anything about that one other than it's going to feature the slugs, apparently. I know 73 yards. Episode 4 is the most mysterious, and then episodes 7 and 8 have also quite a lot of secrets. But um, episode 5, I don't really know much about other than the slug monsters are going to be in it. In fairness, episode 6 is my most anticipated of the rest of the series. It was episodes 2 and 6. Um, the historical based episodes with some deadly villains. And whilst the Devil's Core didn't quite live up to the hype as much as we were hoping for it to be, it's still a very solid episode and very enjoyable. Like with how Space Babies is currently sitting at 7, I'm currently sitting at 8 with this one, and this one is staying at an 8 at the moment after the second viewing. Maybe I did consider 9 actually at the time, but I think 8 is fair, especially if I think Star Beast, especially if I think Star Beast is better, which I do. So yeah, I think this is going to stay at an 8, but currently it's the strongest story of series season 1, series 14, season 14, not including the specials. Out of the 2 that I've aired so far, including the specials, in all Church and Ruby Road and all of the 60 specials, except Destination Scaro. That one's the exception. And Bedtime Stories are better than this one. I think those two would be above Space Babies, though, to be in between this gap. But yeah, Devil's Court, a very good episode, but not quite as good as the 60 specials or Church on Ruby Road. Church on Ruby Road, if I was counting that one as part of series in 1, as that would be the strongest episode so far. And if I was counting the 60th anniversary specials as well, as part of the series, then World Beyond remains the best. Although I did do a separate ranking for those episodes. So starting from Church on Ruby Road up to the end of this series, Empire of Doom, or was it Death? Empire of Death? Yeah. So up to there. Currently, Church on Ruby Road remains the strongest episode. But stay tuned, viewers, as this coming Saturday, Stephen Moffat returns for his 49th episode of the show. And this one is entitled Boom, and sees the Doctor stepping on a landmine, a la Genesis of the Daleks. What is it with Stephen Moffat and Genesis of the Daleks? We had that with the Magician. We had a lot of homages in Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, and all of that. And what is it we've been talking about Genesis of the Daleks this weekend, in these reaction videos? Because I mentioned it in the last one, about how these two episodes. They're the robot maybe arc in space. In this one's case, of this season, and we're going to get the genesis of the Daleks later on when it's going to get a bit darker, or if there's going to be some more darker, serious stories later on. I'm not expecting anything as dark as Genesis of the Daleks, but the comparison is that we're starting with the kind of more fun episodes early on, and then we're going to get a bit more serious later on, which is because the people complaining it was too fun and silly. These 2 episodes were too silly, too fun, too enjoyable, which also begs the question of how they got into the show in the first place. Actually, if you don't like fun, why are you watching this show? I understand the people liking the darker and serious episodes, fair enough. If you prefer that, fine. But if you dislike just having fun, what? How did you get into this show in the first place? This isn't exactly. It does hard science fiction and character drama, but you can also have, silly robots and silly aliens and campy adventures and stuff. Like, this is a fun family series that occasionally dips into darker territory as well. Sometimes it gets a bit muddled. 60s, not 60s, 80s, mid 80s. But yeah, if you don't like fun Doctor Who, then well, firstly, don't watch a lot of classic Who or some of the more fun stories either. Of the revival, but it's also secondly, how did you get in with the show in the first place? Yeah, understand if you prefer the darker, serious stuff, but don't write off these episodes just because they're more fun. Silly, fair enough. Fun, no. No. Otherwise, you're kind of missing the point of the show. You can be fun and serious. You can be silly and dark. Not necessarily at the same time. That's why a lot of some of the Colin Baker stories don't quite gel, and some of the Sylvester McCoy and Peter Davison stories, they don't always work as well. The tone was kind of a bit inconsistent with them, but you can mix it up a little bit. Look at Tom Baker's era. He had a lot of gothic stories in his first few years, and then he went a bit more comic. They went more comical for later stories. I mean, you can debate your opinions on the quality or or how you think they all turned out, but sometimes it can be dark and serious, sometimes it can be fun and silly. Just if these ones don't quite work out for you, hang about. There might be something a bit more dark and serious later on in the series. Otherwise, go back and watch Wild Blue Yonder, for example, or one of the older stories. Yeah, if it's not quite working for you right now, wait a bit. Something else might turn up that might be more up your speed, like the next episode, possibly. So yeah, that's about it from me. Sorry about that little tangent / rant at the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time for my reaction to Boom, and reviews will come at a slightly later date. Not sure when, probably after my birthday next Tuesday. My reaction to Boom might be the last video I do before then. I do hope to do it before then. Although the first video after might not necessarily be the 73 yards reaction. It might be on this channel. It might be something for Universals. Hopefully, if I do something around then. For that, I'm planning. So I do have an idea for something. And then as for the proper reviews, hopefully soonish. They might all probably start up before the end of the series. Until then, we've got the reactions. So again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next reaction to Boom and the return of Stephen Moffat. Even if it's only going to be for 2 more episodes, the other one at Christmas. Surprisingly, that first Christmas special not written by the showrunner at the time. Same for New Year special, actually. First special overall, actually, not written or co-written by the showrunner. But he is a former showrunner, so I guess it works. It's not like, say, Ella Road, who co-wrote Legend of the Sea Devils, came back and her returning episode was the Christmas special and was not co-writing with Russell T Davies. Like, it was just them. I do want her to return to write an episode because I think she got a bit of an unfair treatment with Legend of the Sea Devils. Like, so much went wrong with that story, and I hope she gets another chance to have another bash at writing for the series again, because I think that episode had a whole circumstances of problems. So I hope she gets a chance to have another bash at it to redeem herself. So I say redeem herself or have another go to show, or a better way of saying it would be to show how good of a writer she can be without whatever was going on at the time affecting that. And also going solos without Chris Chibnall's involvement. So maybe that'll help a bit. Nothing against Chibnall, of course. But yeah, that's another tangent out of the way. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time for my reaction to Boom. Goodbye.